Most recently we have discussed compact hot hatches in Autogo Fuel, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars. But which one is the one with the best performance? Could it be this one here, the Audi RS3? Recently it was also updated, 400 horsepower under the hood. We checked the performance but also tell you everything you need to know about exterior, interior and the driving experience, and also compare it to an S3 for you. And what's the price? This is also very surprising. But let's start here with our normal order in Full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! What a massive front. You can optionally get those LED headlamps. You can also see the interesting light, daytime running light signature. Huge front grille with shiny or glossy black elements, RS3 logo. And then the so-called Quattro blade in the lower part already tells us this is a fundamental difference. Not only the engine, soon more info to that, is a fundamental difference to 90% of all other compact hot hatches. This one here, the Quattro, the all-wheel drive is also a very big difference, so you won't feel this typical understeering feel like in other front-wheel driven cars which have so much power on the front axle, just because also power is transported to the rear wheels. Very aggressive, also in the so-called Nardo grey color, a signature color for this car. 4.23 meters or 13.9 is the total length. The RS3 is available as hatch, as we have it here right now, or also as a sedan. Then it's about 25 centimeters longer or almost a foot longer. The trunk will be longer, but of course this one here is more versatile to load in and out. Then it comes here with the 19-inch rims we have here today, two-color scheme. Of course, more aggressive look, and look how big the front brakes are. Wow, very huge brake disc, and you can even get a carbon ceramic brake here for the RS3, but that's really not necessary. Other than that, a subtle design line here on height of the door handle, then black frames around the windows to stress this aggressive styling, and the typical C-shaped form here with a strong C-pillar in the compact hatch style at the rear. And here we come to the rear, since the recent product update, also with a new modern LED daytime running light signature. You also can get those cascading turning indicator lights, then optional. And the main thing here is about the rear of this car. Besides being the normal A3, yes, it's a little bit wider, and then at the lower part, wow, what is this? This is so massive, but this one here, I mean, you already get the bigger exhaust for the RS3, but this one here is again then the optional €1,000 extra performance exhaust if you want to have a little bit more extreme. Wow, what's on the hood here? And if you want to spend another €300, then you get this carbon fiber red contrast cover for the engine for show off, and they can also count basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cylinders also visually displayed. So 2.5 liter displacement, 5 cylinders, 400 horsepower and 4.1 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. As we know from Audi, great interior build quality here with carbon fiber inlets, also Alcantara use. All the buttons and switches are clicking and are very well processed. Also some space for bigger bottles here at the inside of the doors. Then RS entry logo and RS floor mats. The steering wheel, you can get it here with the Alcantara at the side. It's really superb, also with the flat bottom. Then there's here the RS design package. Get red rings here around the vents. Then you have normal sport seats with a separate head restraint, would be right there. And those ones are the super sport seats with integrated head restraint. They look sportier. For long-term driving, I recommend the base sport seats, and they also have the RS design package here with red. One flaw that no matter which seat you pick in the RS3, they are always equipped with animal skin leather, and that's of course nothing suitable for a sports car where you would more expect fabric or Alcantara, especially not only at the inside of the steering wheel, but especially at the inside of the seats. Getting inside is fairly easy. It's a normal compact hatch car, and then sitting is also a normal compact hatch position, just a little bit lower here suspension wise. And those sport seats here offer you more shoulder support, for example, and of course you slide on them around as it's leather. Then the steering wheel with a great grip, and you can also adjust it in a very smooth way and really can find a good position. I'm 1.86 m or 6'1", and that leaves a lot of headroom still, so also no problem for taller people. However, in the mid-size segment, as a tall person, you always have more comfort. You have to know that. But for a compact segment vehicle, it offers really good room in the front here, and you feel pretty much at home. You feel somewhat in a normal car, but with those racing accentuations, you're already prepared for what's going on. But when you really feel the racing factor, then you're driving. And this will also happen very soon. Interior overview, pretty clean. Little soft touch right here. Red accentuations around the round vents. Interesting solution. Still real climate unit, and let's turn on the ignition. You can see this optional virtual cockpit, and also the central screen pops up. This car still has it here. For all the other vehicles, they are removing this feature now because they say no one would be using it. Everyone is driving with the screen up anyway, but we had some feedback saying, I'm really using it, I like the feature. You can also have a separate button for that one, is placed right here. It's a cool feature, but of course another electric motor, so you have to think about if you do that. Smartphone integration is possible with a plug. Other than that, you can also use Bluetooth. Again, take a look at this very compact steering wheel with a round shape of the Audi logo surrounding here with the airbag cover. You can control then the sound here, or also in the center knob down there, and left side control of the digital instruments. Sumo deals to this and to this. And last but not least, horizontal stress here, also with carbon fiber decal element. I still like to have those nice Audi metal knurled temperature knobs. They are just so great to be left out of the car just for the, sake of digital screens all over the place. Or what do you think? It is still one of my favorite features, this metal knurling knob, so I can't show it often enough, as long as it's still there. Instruments, you can always change the view, have the music on the left side, or also the consumption figure, or also the GPS. You also have the bigger view, full GPS view. Wow, that's what the virtual cockpit is for. You're really flexible and it looks very fancy. And here in the center infotainment system, it looks like this. This will be the classic Bluetooth telephone connection. You can change also features from the car. Here, for example, is the drive select, talking about the drive modes later when we drive the car. And taking a look at the map. Of course, looks quite fancy here with the satellite view. And if you want to enter an address, you can also write, for example, like this, and then you can pick it accordingly. It's also a nice feature. Middle console with the USB port in the front. This works for the smartphone connection. Then the S-Tronic dual clutch transmission shifting lever, also with the Alcantara cover. Then in the lower part you have this MMI turning pressing knob. Oh, that looks weird on camera. Strange. Strange effect on camera, but I have no idea why the camera is doing that. That's a premiere. Well, anyway, you can also, as I showed you, write with this one, like, say B or F or something. Yeah. And also electric handbrake. And last but not least, we have the armrest here, which is very fixedly attached, great build quality. And then you can put your smartphone right there, either with inductive charging Or you can have also the connection here to the smartphone interface with this USB port, so both work for those. And always a nice feature is the frameless rear mirror. I just like it. It's subtle and elegant. And when you get in the rear seats, well, those sport seats are pretty thick, so they don't leave too much legroom. You will have a little bit more legroom if you go with the normal sport seats. Here I can squeeze myself in, but I could not really sit here legroom wise. Headroom does exactly fit, but it's not really a comfortable situation here, mainly due to those very wide sport seats in every respect. Again, this is another disadvantage of those. Other than that, you also have the same nice design with the red contour stitches here from the RS design package. But again, if you want to spend another 1,000 euros for this car, then you go with this design package. Isofix on the outer seats. Then you can flip the seats from here, 1/3, 2/3 split, like this. We'll soon take a look at how that one looks like from the trunk. And there's also an armrest available with cup holders, foldable, and a 12-volt power supply, which you could, for example, equip with those adapters which go 12 volt to USB. And that's the hatch and the opening trunk here. Still size cabin trolley fits in like this, as you can see. Or also upright. Then you can put up the lower part. Sound system is hidden right there, and this part here, pretty interesting, holds it up. That's an interesting idea. Here with the optional sound system, quite nice sound. And you can actually reach over and then have this ski hatch, or the classic 1/3, 2/3 split is also available, of course, but in this case it's more like this. So 3 possibilities like this, and then you can actually very well use it. It's an advantage of a compact hatch if you compare it to the sedan. The sedan is longer in the trunk, but you cannot load it as easily as this one. Of course, you can also remove the top cover. Welcome. This is Thomas's racing driving lounge for today with the driving part. Wow. What a handling here in those hairpin corners. This is also one of the big advantages of those compact hatches. Rather short wheelbase, great handling, and you feel super much in control. We have that with a lot of the hot hatches. This one here, of course, a very, very special one. To talk about the driving modes, we will be heading out to the motorway. We will really crush it, basically, really hammer the throttle, tell you everything you need to know about this car in driving. And well, the basic car, of course, feels like a normal A3. Then you have this sport suspension, which is in this case here really stiff. As soon as the road is getting a little rougher, you do feel that. You also want that from a rather racing-oriented car. This is also a difference to the S3. The S3 still has a better compromise for the everyday driving life. This one here is really set on this racing theme. However, in the recent update here now in this vehicle, it is better than before. So they have smoothed it a little bit out, that when you're in the auto mode, you're a little bit safer, basically a little bit smoother than before. You can still go to the dynamic mode. And I can change it in 2 different ways. First of all, this S-Tronic here, the dual clutch transmission, I can put it to the S shifting mode, and everything of the car remains in normal mode. Just the gear is put in a different way. So I'm in the lower gear now, for example now 3rd gear, and the gears are turned up higher, shifting up later, shifting down earlier again. And I can also use the shifting pedals here. Also have those performance gauges here mounted at the moment. Very well see the digital display. And also have the performance exhaust, really, really big. And you also hear those plops on the interior, especially when you're shifting up. Shifting down again, a little bit throttled, plop. I repeat it again, just without me saying plop, that you can really hear the actual thing. So pretty impressive for sure. And you hold the right pedal to go to the auto mode again, or just use the shifting stick or gear lever, automatic gear lever. So, and you also have the drive select, pressing here in the middle console, and then you can also go from comfort, but also to this so-called dynamic mode. And then the S shifting is automatically set in place. The steering gives a little bit more feedback, but it's still very light to control, but super progressive. Look at that here. Wow. This is super handling, no tilting at all, and you see how the car directly reacts on my commands. And this is really what this car is all about. You're really one with the vehicle without being a special sports car layout. I think space-wise and stuff, it's still the same than in a normal A3, and there you can also use it in that way around. Just pay attention, you don't damage those precious alloys, of course. That could be a problem. Also, the Alcantara grip here on the steering wheel is superb. I said earlier, especially for racy driving, BMW i3, and very nice. We would, of course, appreciate some Alcantara seats as well, because in those leather seats you slide around a little bit, although they could give you good side support here with the integrated shoulder support and the head restraint and stuff. I told you something about the seats earlier there. Now, in the long-term comfort, they're quite okay, but I feel that the normal sport seats, that they will be better on the long-term comfort. Those ones here will be better on the racetrack. However, it also depends then on each statue. So when I'm, passing another building here, for example, I go back to the D mode, keeping the exhaust a little more silent. And then as soon as you reach an area which is less crowded, then you can, for example, put it to the S mode again and then let it fly. So it's good to be flexible, and also suspension-wise. In dynamic mode, it's stiffer. For example, now those transverse bumps, you heard them. But of course, you can also get better feedback in the auto mode or comfort mode. Suspension is a little bit softer. I can also have a lighter steering control here, so it's easy to park in and out. So you can adjust that. Consumption, by the way, will be pretty high. When you just have motorway cruise control, you can score as low as 9 liters, 100 kilometers. But usually when you take something more into account, it will rather trend towards 10 or 11 liters on 100 kilometers. It's of course too much, and you see sometimes the bigger engines consume less fuel than the low-tuned ones, but in this case here, rather more. And of course, in this case, we want to know more about the acceleration. Wow. So this is direct response, and there's also an advantage if you compare it to a 4-cylinder. This one here, the 5-cylinder engine, and also more displacement. You feel that you have more displacement. It's more sovereign than the usual compact hatch setup that you have right there, with those other vehicles. Let's see here. Some street work. So now we get to a proper acceleration. Launch control would also be possible, by the way, if I just stop the car completely. But it's always a little bit more dangerous. It's better when I'm already rolling. See here, but I'm trying to slow down, show you all the way of the acceleration, that we have free entry to the motorway. So from let's let those guys pass then, and then I'll go on. So now from 30. That's 180. Wow. Really sovereign acceleration, and also very smooth how everything is being handled. So that's pretty convincing. And of course, a difference to a normal just front-wheel drive, low horsepower compact hatch, if you can say low. Here with those 400 horsepower, 4 seconds or 4.1 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. That's rather in a region, of a very strong Porsche or something. So very peculiar for a compact hatch. And also at higher speeds, noise insulation remains good. Really stable on the road here. For example, lane change at 130. There's nothing for the vehicle, nothing. So super stable, super sovereign. And at the same time, I have to say, yes, the suspension is stiff, but considering the sporty values of this vehicle, it is still somewhat comfortable if you compare it to some others. For example, a Honda Civic Type R or Ford Focus RS are definitely rougher suspension-wise, from the whole setup and how the car feels, for example. You want that screen go away, by the way? Yeah, you can still do it. That's cool. I mean, sometimes when driving, maybe you want just a clear view to the front. Pretty cool effect when it's going up again. So, because we're now getting to the tunnel, just lower the right window a little bit. I think you can hear more from the sound than actually. Now, difference when I have the window higher, like just closed. Especially when you go second to third or third to fourth gear, then you have this blob. This. Also, you can say the DSG fart. It's known as. And what is actually happening there in that case? Well, when shifting up, in those very sporty DSG variants, or S-tronic as they call it, Audi, they give just a little bit fuel, just a little bit fuel is being put in the valve, and then it's exploding and giving that blob. So it's not really adding much to the consumption or something, but you have this special sound effect then, and some like it, some don't. What do you think? So I think I can agree that this is really the hottest hatch, probably with the best performance. It is totally racetrack suitable, no question. If you ask for a vehicle to do everything and for your everyday driving life, and we like that one while watching, I think I would rather give you the advice to go for the Audi S3, because that is more comfortable and also is a better price performance deal, if you can speak about price performance at Audi at all. Performance, yes, but price, no. I mean, this one here, with all the stuff put inside, then at least 60,000, at least, if not more, with all the extras put in. Wow, that's really something, Want to have some more performance? No problem. We go back the way again, and we'll hammer it once more. Enjoy the silence here for a moment, because that's actually possible. I mean, if you go back to the normal driving modes, you can have it relatively silent. That's quite okay. By the way, overview, it's the same like in a normal compact hatch, so you exactly know where you're at in the car, where everything is ending and stuff. Nice subtle turning indicator sound. Such a great progressive control with the steering. I think the steering is something they've managed best for sure here. Also, if you have the blind spot monitor, I can soon show you that. I'll stay on the right lane and then I let someone overtake me, which I'll probably soon catch again. So, this E-Class behind me surely wants to overtake me now. Come on. Do it. For the sake of the blind spot monitor, overtake me. Now there's a BMW coming. There we go. Yellow light. I still think it's a good thing. We have some discussions there. you know, with adjusting your mirrors properly, yes, of course, that's good, but I think it's always good as a, you know, additional safety equipment to have this blind spot monitor. So driving school in front of us now. Of course, I don't want to be a bad example and exceed the speed limit, so I won't do it in the tunnel here. But maybe I can wake the driving school up. Sometimes when you accelerate here in this tunnel, then with such a vehicle, you would think you're maybe driving Formula One in Monte Carlo or something. But then as soon as I'm allowed to, I'll hammer the throttle again. And maybe that will be a little exciting then on today's driving school run. Whoever is learning to drive here right now. So, give me some space, guys. What do you think about the performance so far here? So now it will be interesting because we'll start at a higher speed, see how the car performs there, because starting at the higher speed, that's something usually only, you know, a V6 or something will manage quite well. Will it also be well handled here by the 5-cylinder, which is definitely a very unique setup. So, now, yes. Now let's go from 80. That's 180 again. Wow. Such a sovereign acceleration, and indeed. So this one will probably succeed every other V6 on the road here next to me, if there was one. It's definitely a very unique setup, and yeah, you do feel difference to those 4-cylinder hot edges, definitely. So you wouldn't miss a V6 here, not at all. Really, it's a really great engine. Of course, we can't talk about the consumption here anymore when we're doing so, you know, those acceleration runs. But even if you just do it in a normal city comparison and drive it a little bit here and there, it still will be too high. 150, just changing the lanes, remains so stable, really cool. Good, wow, whee. Good, great braking power. Now setting cruise control. And yes, it's a normal cruise control which is just mounted in this car, and on the one hand I'm happy when not every extra is clicked on test vehicles we have, but then again, if you pay 60, 70, 80,000 euros here in the compact segment, I think it shouldn't be a question of ticking extras. The car should have everything for that price that is on the list. Or what do you think? Also an adaptive cruise control. Well, you know, also when you have put the cruise control here to about 100, it's still a very, how can I say, confirming ride. You know, it's not a vehicle like a Honda Civic Type R, which tells you, race me, race me, race me, race me. The sound tells something about that, but you can also drive it in a rather relaxed manner. So you can also maybe have a longer motorway trip, for example, without, in Germany you always say, mit dem Messer zwischen den Zähnen, so, you know, with the knife between the teeth, like, you know, those, you know, pirates entering a ship or something. So you can also drive it in a relaxing way. It always has this power reserve, which is always there, that you can ask for it to come. So I think the driving part does prove that this one here is the most performant compact vehicle there is on the road at the moment. And now to our conclusion for today with the Audi RS3. Well, it is the best performance in this segment. That is basically out of question. The figures show it, and also I feel it in driving, and it's still not the most uncomfortable one. That's also something. Of course, this all-wheel drive is more than most of the other compact segment hatches have, and also 1 cylinder more displacement is up, and you do feel that, yes. Interior, very well processed, great build quality, still somewhat conservative layout, we know, because the car is also not entirely new from the base platform. But the thing is, you know, you can still like that. I like to have the turning metal knobs, but I don't like, of course, especially for a sports vehicle, they need fabric or Alcantara inside to get it more racing style, also, at least in the interior, more sustainable. Consumption is, of course, not as sustainable. Even if you don't push the issue, you can always count with about 10 to 11 liters on 100 kilometers. Then again, the driving fun is definitely there. And you can still somewhat take this car for your everyday driving life. That's possible. But of course, thinking about a more attractive price, I would still tend to recommend the S3 for a realistic pick, because not so many people will be able to afford more than 55,000 the base. And I mean, with some features inside, this very vehicle here today, 70,000 euros. And hey, you can almost get a Mercedes A-Class, a new one for that. Oh, wait a minute, that's also compact segment. Something is going wrong with the prices in the premium compact segment. Don't you think so as well? Definitely too much, and I don't see me at any time paying so much money for a compact segment car. But then again, you want to know which is the best performing one? This is it. What do you think? Tell me your opinion in the comments, and also tune in next time.